Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. We have a cross post from Best Of, some OhNoConsequences Best Of. Yay! This is becoming kind of a third Best Of day, isn't it, at this point in time? Anyways, this post is Shocker, collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is user Tequila Shots at Work, posted September 25th, 2021. Am I the asshole for ordering tequila shots for my work colleagues at Friday lunchtime? I, 26 male, work in a busy lab, medical diagnostics, and every Friday we go as a team, 6 to 7 people, to a local sports bar to have a team-building lunch on the boss's company card. Yesterday, our boss was swamped with deadlines, but said the rest of us could go anyway, as long as we paid for any alcoholic drinks ourselves. Usually, the boss plus 1 to 2 other people will order a small beer with their lunch, so I have consumed alcohol on the clock before in this job. I was even thinking that without the boss there, that I might order a big beer this time. When we arrived though, me and my work bro, 25 male, were drawn to a new offer the bar had on tequila shots. 5 for $10. In our defense, we had just had a very stressful morning, so we proposed to the team that we buy a single round of shots to commemorate it. A couple of our colleagues were a little reluctant, but after a little convincing, we were soon toasting to a morning of hard work. That's when my work bro proposed we order a second round of shots. I have a pretty high tolerance to alcohol, so it was no problem with me. I knew for a fact we have a couple of lightweight colleagues. For example, a diminutive Asian lady who rarely drinks, 23 female. But we still managed to convince the rest of the table to drink with us a second time. After that, the 2 females with us tapped out, but the 3 remaining guys, myself included, decided to split 10 further tequila shots. In our defense, as far as team building goes, the outing was a roaring success. I think I learned more about my colleagues in those 1.5 hours than I have in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, when we got back to the office, our boss could smell the tequila on my breath. My work bro very stupidly decided to be honest and told him that some of us had 5+ shots of alcohol at lunch. My boss's face turned bright fucking red and he told us all to go home immediately, and that it wasn't safe for us to be working in a lab while inebriated. I calmly explained to him that I in fact still felt very good. I have a very high tolerance, remember? But he wasn't having it. I'm genuinely worried about what's going to happen on Monday morning. The 2 female colleagues called me and my work bro assholes for taking it too far and getting everyone into trouble. I see their point of view, but on the other hand, we did have a really good time while at the bar. Help us out, Reddit. Who's the asshole here? Verdict. Asshole. Top comments. Ormerade 2 comments. Yeah, you're the asshole. I'm pretty sure being inebriated while working in medical diagnostic lab is a felony. You should be thankful you weren't fired. Pie and Box waiting comments. Yeah, you're the asshole. 5 shots over 1.5 hours and returning to work in a medical lab? Frat days are over, bro. Multiverse Wanderer responds, God, I can't even imagine wanting to take 5 shots, fully knowing I had to go back to the office. I would have been absolutely sloshed taking 5 shots in general, even if it was on a weekend night out with friends. User Resting Beauty Face comments, you're the asshole, and the way you describe your other coworkers is gross. Females, diminutive Asian, and work bro? You need to grow up. Throwaway 9455370 comments, yeah, you're the asshole. Expect to be fired on Monday. Update, September 27th, 2021. 2 days later. Well, I'm sure a lot of you will be happy to know that me and my out-of-work bro got fired this morning. HR asked us why exactly we thought we could drink 6 tequila shots and then go back to the lab. All we could think of was that in college we used to work hard and play hard, and it didn't affect our grades. They didn't like that excuse. Anyway, we were offered a plea bargain. HR accepted our resignations and promised a passing but not glowing reference for future employers on the condition we don't mention what happened to anyone ever again. I want to thank all those that commented on the original thread. I now accept that me and my work bro made a grievous error in judgment. We're not alcoholics, as some people suggested, but we're not in college anymore either. Personally, I'll be laying off the hard liquor for a while to focus on rebuilding my career in medical diagnostics. And if in the future someone offers me a shot while I'm on the clock, I will say, no thank you. I actually cannot believe that you went into HR and told them that you have the work hard and play hard mentality in regards to not only taking shots, but also pressuring your other coworkers into also taking shots. Seems the frat bro mentality never actually left. Also, did you drive yourself back to work on 6 shots of tequila? Oh, don't worry, I have a high tolerance though. Yeah, just tell it to the officer while he has you blow right there. Ugh, gross. All of it gross. Just, oh my god. Not to mention, you're working with medical diagnostics. You came to the job after a lunch break, sloshed, dealing with other people's medical tests, things that could, in some cases, very much be life or death. Good god, man. The fact that you weren't blacklisted from your industry is honestly incredible. We've got a best of, another one. Woo, cross-posted. Well, actually, kind of. I actually grabbed this one myself because I felt like it fit the theme. This post was collected by Deleted. By Numb Muffin, posted to r/mytheasshole July 7th, 2021, with an update on the same post, July 08th. Why would I say it like that? Anyways, am I the asshole for ratting out my assistant/colleague and getting her fired to save my own job? I know how it sounds, but please read before you judge. I've, 30 male, worked at my current employer for 3 years. Last year, March 2020, I received a promotion to project manager. In the beginning, everything went well, but in the last month, I've been getting more and more negative feedback. I did not understand what was going on or why people were becoming so negative about me. I was losing clients and several colleagues were really upset about me. I was at a loss. I started talking to my manager and my department head about following courses, getting monthly feedback to perform better. I wanted to live up to the promotion I received. I felt like I was failing. Then, a friend/colleague, 27 female of mine, came to me angry and demanded that I apologize for what I said. I was really confused and asked her why she was so upset with me. She explained she received an email where I was basically blaming her for the issues that I was dealing with. This was an email a client forwarded her. I was at a loss and explained I never sent out an email like that, and if she could show me. She did, and it had my name, my send address, and everything seemed like it was from me. But I never sent it. Then it clicked with me. My assistant, 39 female, has access to my email and has the ability to send as me. She's also the only one that has these rights. I was so flabbergasted and so much started to make sense. She was next in line for my job and did not receive the promotion. I did. I checked all her sent mail on her PC while she was out for lunch and saw dozens of emails sent as if it was me. An email, still open on her screen, showed my email address and a written message to clients with misinformation, passive aggressiveness, and straight up lies. These were sent out under my name. I made screenshots and sent them to myself, then went to my manager and the head of the department. They were pissed. She was fired that same day. I was relieved and all my colleagues were informed. I thought I was completely in the right here, but some people at work are complaining that I violated company policy for snooping on her PC and violating her privacy. My boss and direct colleagues have my back, but the people that knew her, she's worked there since 2011 and I've only been here since 2018, say I went too far. Apparently she's a single mother with 2 kids and needed this job. I also need this job, and she was more than willing to sacrifice me for her benefit. I don't see how I could be in the wrong for defending myself. Maybe I'm just too close to the situation to see it? Did I go too far by going on her PC? Too long didn't read. Am I the asshole for snooping on my assistant's PC and with it breaking a privacy policy of the company to prove that she was sabotaging me and getting her fired while saving my own job? Judgment, not the asshole. Top and relevant comments. Deleted user. Info. What is the privacy policy of the company? If it's work equipment owned by the company, I don't think you can have an expectation for privacy. Also, she's your assistant and has the ability to send emails as you, so you have the right to look at anything she's sending on your behalf. And it seems like you did it just in time. If she has the brass to send out emails full of lies as you, then she has to accept the consequences. OP responds, honestly, I wasn't completely aware of what the privacy policy entailed, so I spoke to our HR department. They state, and I'm paraphrasing here, that in no circumstances are you allowed to go onto someone else's account and use their data, as some people have very sensitive data. They said they made an exception for me in this case because 1, I was her supervisor, and 2, she was causing damage to not only me, but to the company as a whole with her behavior. I still got a warning for doing it, just not any real punishment. User no fun always comments, what I don't get, if someone was sending these things under your email, it would have gotten back to you faster. People's responses would have gone into your inbox, and I doubt your assistant would have deleted all of them quick enough for you not to see it, or people would have messaged you or brought up your behavior in meetings. The story does not make sense. If it happened a couple times, sure, but not believable that this went on for months. OP responds, it went on for only 1 month. It was sporadic enough for me to miss it as I'm constantly on the road and I cannot check my email. That's why I had an assistant to begin with. It also wasn't constant, but enough for it to be dozens of emails. In course of slightly less than a month, I didn't notice any emails addressed to me, and why would I check my sent mail for no reason? She knew I was on the road all the time, without internet or a connection, monitoring projects at the sites. Considering the times of the emails were sent, they were always sent when I was away. The only reason she got caught was because a client wasn't happy I was blaming a colleague and she let me know and I happened to be at location due to a last-minute cancellation of an appointment. It seems she was very careful selecting the times when I wasn't there to notice what was going on. OP replied to a deleted comment. No, she literally had access to my email, not as a delegate. I'm assuming that's what you meant. And she made sure to send emails out only when I was out of office to monitor project sites. However, I understand where you're coming from. She's an IT engineer herself and managed to, quite well, hide what she was doing. I described it in another comment, but as stated, always made sure to communicate in this manner when no one but her had access. Considering she was always at the office or work from home via a VPN, she'd have all the time in the world to remove any messages without anyone catching on. I went from IT engineer to IT project manager, so I know where you're coming from in terms of doubt. But I just wasn't checking my email, as that's what my assistant was supposed to do. That was literally her task, and other duties as an assistant, but you get the point. User the best Peter comments, not the asshole, she was trying to screw over your career through lies and deceptions, and you caught her, and she received the correct punishment for her actions. Deleted user. You didn't get her fired, she did this to herself. Someone would have figured it out eventually. She chose to risk her job and endanger the business with her deceitful behavior. Losing her position is a natural consequence of her choices, not the asshole. I hope you're able to continue to repair your reputation from the damage she caused. User make me pretty comments, not the asshole, she got what she deserved. Who cares she worked there longer and is a single mother of 2? If she so needs the job, then she should have taken into account possible scenarios her actions would lead to. This was one of them. Why should people pity someone for the situations they themselves put themselves into? Final update. Next day, July 8th, 2021. Update 1. They just let me know they're holding a meeting to clarify what exactly happened. They were catching on to the people that weren't happy about her being fired, and they want to quell any issues before they start taking root. I'll update again once the meeting is over. It's an hour and 20 minutes from now. Update 2. Meeting took about half an hour, and after that, I was in and out of talks with colleagues and other people. It was properly explained what she was doing and has done to me and the company. The attitude towards me noticeably changed in a positive direction, with a lot of people apologizing to me and explaining they've known her for years, were friends, and could not imagine she'd actually do something like this. Honestly, I'm happy it ended this way. HR and my boss really had my back here and preemptively handled to avoid any lingering negativity. Nothing but praise for them. I've requested some time off, which was approved, and I'll be home for a week starting next week. Per my request/advice, they are also going to revise, or at least look at, the company policy regarding access to other people's emails, and other security issues I've noticed. It'll probably be the last update for now. I might make an update post if anything significant happens. Thank you all again. Stumbled upon this comment down below on the best of post that I felt could be definitely worth including here. Rabbit Traditional 135 comments. Much lower stakes, but years ago something similar happened to me. I was at the time one of the 2 long-term temps, basically a contractor without a contract. Don't you love how businesses avoid providing benefits? Sarcastic. The other, whom I had thought I got along well enough with, was laid off. Now, for some reason at this point, temps were expected to share a single email address. Our rules were just different enough that it was usually fairly obvious who was supposed to get which emails. Still, weird and obnoxious. So after this guy left, I stopped getting emails. Like, people would send me stuff and it wouldn't show up in my inbox. They looked at his computer and his inbox was full of my unopened messages. It must be a me problem. IT did some digging, and it turned out he had set up a folder named Inbox and had all emails automatically routed there. So it looked like his inbox was fine while I never saw any new messages. Once it was found, it was an easy fix, and IT was like, what the fuck? People should not be sharing email accounts. I don't care if they're temps. I never figured out why he did it, whether he had some secret beef with me or was just trying to blow up the all temps share one email policy. And he was long gone when it was discovered, so I doubt he faced any consequences. Good times. See, the funniest part is a lot of people are asking questions like, why would a company do this? Why would they do X, Y, and Z? That doesn't make any sense. Do you know how infrequently companies follow common sense? Anyone who has worked in IT can tell you that a lot of companies just do random bullshit and hope to God it works. My guess would be is, in that comment there, the reason why the temps shared one email address, they probably didn't want to pay for like a specific kind of upgrade for Google Workspaces or domains or whatever. So they just put the temps on the same email address and called it good. Saves them a couple bucks a month. I find that a lot of questions can really just be answered when it comes to a company doing X, Y, and Z instead of ABC. Have you never been at a company where they had a stupid as fuck policy that didn't make any sense whatsoever? And it was obvious how many issues could arise from it, but no one wanted to change it because, it's just the way things are. This is another one that I actually collected because I felt like it fit the vibe of OhNoConsequences. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Lawyer for Crazies, posted November 8th, 2014 to r/relationships. I, 27 female, refused to give free legal advice to my friend, 27 female, and her boyfriend, 32 male. Friend's boyfriend went nuts. Just wanting some perspective on this, throwaway for the obvious reasons. Bit of background info. Julie is a good friend from school. We used to be close, but have drifted apart and don't see each other much as we used to. John is her boyfriend. We used to be close, but he's been cold towards me recently. They have both opened up a business, and I'm a lawyer at a decent-sized firm. A few days ago, I got a text from my good friend Julie out of the blue wanting to meet up. I was thrilled because Julie has bailed the last couple of times I've organized things. We meet up, but the whole time Julie keeps fishing for free legal advice about her business, which I politely refused. I refused for many reasons. She sought advice in an area of law I have minimal experience in. It goes against the conditions of my practicing license. What she wanted me to do would take up most of my limited free time, and in my jurisdiction, there are rules and lots of warnings against giving free legal advice to friends and family. It has the potential to ruin my career, a career which I have just began. I also don't want to mix my professional and personal life. The area of law I practice in is emotionally draining and intensive. I love it, but for the purpose of self-preservation, I want my spare time to be work-free. While I'm more than happy to lend a sympathetic ear to friends, I find it a bit much to continuously put on my lawyer hat and provide solutions, opinions, and dish out free legal advice to everyone that asks. It's not a nice feeling to know that you're being taken advantage of. I politely refused Julie and told her that I really wasn't comfortable to give away free legal advice, but if she wanted recommendations, I would gladly provide her with a list of capable lawyers. She said it was okay, and we had a meaningful chat. It was really pleasant to be able to speak to her again. Last night, I was at a catch-up dinner with a couple of friends and our significant others. Julie and John happened to be there and were giving me the cold shoulder. I ignored it for most of the night until we took our seats at the table. John started making all these snide remarks about lawyers, the usual stereotypes about lawyers. I laughed it off, as did everyone else. However, things took a turn for the worse, and his comments got oh so nasty and personal. He said horrible things like, I must be sleeping my way to the top, that I must have connections to have gotten my job, that I'm unethical/lack moral virtue like all lawyers, that I'm greedy, and the icing on the cake, you must not be a good lawyer because you were unable to help us with our simple legal problem. I was pretty pissed off because who the fuck does something like this over a dinner? It was horrible, awkward, and just mean. I was mortified and didn't know what to say/do. I felt so small. I ended up excusing myself from the table to go cry. Come back, evidently look like I've been crying, and now John is pissed, saying that I can't take a joke/have no sense of humor. Wake up in the morning being bombarded with text messages from John and Julie about how I'm horrible, how I made them look bad. What? And how this would have all been avoided if I just helped them in the first place. I responded and said if I ever was going to help them, they've blown their chances based on how they acted. John has lost the plot and has been sending me menacing messages and has threatened to ruin me. Reddit, how the hell do I handle this? Too long didn't read. Friend and her boyfriend asked me for legal advice, which I declined. Now, friend and her boyfriend are harassing me and threatening to ruin me. Relevant comments. Here comes Curry. I would wash my hands of these friends if I were you. You have every right in the world to refuse to have your free time infiltrated by those close to you digging for legal advice. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't most lawyers offer free consultations? Couldn't they have just as easily made a proper appointment with you during your office hours? Hold your ground. If they want to shed light on this whole thing to ruin you, they would end up humiliated. And you would receive a pat on the back from your employers for 1, being loyal to their firm, 2, being loyal and respectful to yourself. What you do is worth something, and people who come around only when they want something aren't worth gifting it to for free. If you're worried, I would bring this situation to a seasoned higher-up at the firm. Sorry if I'm a little all over the place. I'm irritated for you, and a little under the weather. Obi responds, thanks so much for this. It's made me feel a bit better. What annoyed me the most is how they made me out to be this super selfish, greedy asshole that doesn't give a second thought about my friends. It's offensive because I'm nothing like that, and have done so much for them in the past. Hell, the only reason why John is living in my country is because I wrote an amazing stat deck about him and his relationship. What they want me to do is fucking time-consuming, and as I said, out of my area of expertise. I don't want to finish my exhausting, draining day of solving other people's problems to be bogged down in researching and solving the problems of someone ungrateful. I guess, most of all, I'm pissed off because I didn't think this would end a friendship. Normally, the relationship ends after you dish out free legal advice. Not before. User amongst the living comments. Cut contact and block them. If they continue, report them for harassment. I'm so sorry your friend is doing this to you, but this is ridiculous. If she was your friend, she wouldn't be doing this. She knows you can't give legal advice like that, which makes it so ironic that John called you unethical. Like, what the fuck? Also, why the hell didn't anyone stand up for you at supper? KEYZ. LP responds, I was a bit surprised that no one stood up for me, but I think it was because everyone was really shocked. John has always presented himself to be nice and the guy who everyone wants to be with. Deleted user comments. I'm just curious, did anyone else at the dinner mention what went down? I have a hard time believing any normal or healthy people wouldn't have said something. OP responds, I said to someone else they were all shocked. Julie and John are the golden couple that everyone looks up to. Julie has talked John up to the point where he's untouchable and the standard to judge everyone else's significant others to. I've got a whole heap of messages from friends asking me how I am. It was just an awkward and embarrassing situation. No one knew how to handle it, myself included. Top comment from Putch80. I'm also a lawyer and have dealt with people I haven't had contact with in years suddenly coming out of the woodwork and seeking free legal advice under the guise of rekindling a friendship. It sucks. It makes you feel used and like you had no worth to give them until you got a JD and took your oath. My honest advice? Fuck them both. Tell them you're interpreting these threats as harassment and blackmail, and any further threats will be met with legal action initiated by you against them. Tell them you do not give out free advice to anyone, let alone former friends. And tell them there are hundreds of other lawyers in the Yellow Pages who can help them with their simple legal problem. I assume since you are a fairly young lawyer that you have some kind of supervising attorney at your firm overseeing your work. Mention the situation to him/her. State that you don't think it'll be an issue, but that you are just trying to be upfront in case it becomes one. I would be shocked if Julie and the boyfriend file a bar complaint, which would almost certainly be summarily disregarded by your bar association, but your firm should at least be aware of what's going on. I'd be happy to discuss this with you further. For reference, I'm located in Oklahoma, so that is where the bulk of my experience dealing with the bar association and crazy clients comes into play. Update, November 25th, 2014, 17 days later. So, first things first, thank you so much to everyone that responded. I'm surprised that my post gained the amount of attention that it has. I honestly can't express how thankful I am to all the PMs I got expressing concern. It's nice to know that there are some really awesome people out there that care enough to listen and help me in my time of need. In the original post, I expressed concern about John sending me really nasty text messages. I know a lot of people were telling me that I should go to the police and make a report. In the end, I decided not to. Long story short, John is not a citizen of my country and is actually going to an interview in the next coming weeks along with Julie to cement his status as a permanent resident of my country. Part of this process is basically having a squeaky clean record and the full and frank disclosure of criminal activity/antisocial behavior. Since I am a character reference that I provided in a non-legal capacity and wrote a really nice letter for John, this was before all the drama, it wouldn't look good for him. I have no interest in ruining both his and Julie's life, no matter how terrible, rude, or mean they are. So I didn't want to make a report. However, I sent one text message to both John and Julie which basically said that if he didn't stop harassing me, then I would have no choice but to go to the police and file a formal report. I have kept copies of these text messages if I need to, and have blocked their numbers and have gone into a social media lockdown. In regards to my professional concerns, every Monday I have a standing appointment with my supervising solicitor to debrief about work and any problems that arise from work. As I mentioned in the original thread, I practice in family law and deal with a lot of at-risk and vulnerable kids, most of whom are victims of abuse, so the appointment goes beyond the realm of legal work. I discussed what happened with John and Julie and asked for her professional opinion. She was actually shocked with the whole situation, had to show her the text to prove it actually happened. She basically said that there is no way in the world that John and Julie could get me into trouble, because I didn't do anything wrong. She also said that because she knows how hard I work and how many hours I put in at work, coupled with my known distaste of corporate/commercial law, that she has no qualms in backing me up in the unlikely event that Julie and John try to cause me professional dramas. She also advised me to call the Bar Association to preempt any problems. But the Bar Association said that I did the right thing and that unless they have legitimate evidence that proves that I have given them any advice or have done anything wrong, then I'm in the clear. So it looks as though I'm all good on that front. A very good friend of mine that was at the dinner where John exploded has sort of been talking to Julie and John and letting me know what was going on. My friend, Jane, told me that John wanted to make a formal complaint/start something, she wasn't too sure of the exact details, but she shot him down and said that is no way appropriate, acceptable, or ethical, and that she, or our circle of friends, wouldn't want anything to do with either John or Julie. After this, Jane has told me that she wants nothing to do with either of them, and listed off the number of times I've been there for both of them, and how stupid they are being. Jane also told me that the reason why no one intervened at the dinner party was because no one knew what to say. John has always presented himself as being the nice guy and the perfect boyfriend. His behavior was completely left field and out of character, that people genuinely didn't know how to react. Julie has always spoken so highly about John, how perfect he is, how lucky she is to have him, and how we all need to find our John. It sort of brought to light a few things about him and their relationship. A few odd things that no one could put their finger on. No one's relationship is as perfect as John and Julie. Long story short, it made a lot of people reconsider how they thought about them both. Someone in the original post pointed out that their outburst and insistence for help is probably symptomatic of a bigger problem. Whoever said that was correct. Around a year ago, both Julie and John bought into a business. I don't know the specific details, but at the time, John and Julie approached me and asked me for some legal advice, which I declined. I was in my final semester of law school, and because they didn't want to pay for a lawyer to drop contracts/look over things at the time, John was really dismissive of paying for legal advice and said that he was more than capable of handling it himself. Turns out, he did a really terrible job. They're losing money, owe a lot of people money, angered a lot of people, and both he and Julie are generally screwed over by a contract in place. This is what Jane has told me. I feel bad for them, I really do, but there is literally nothing I can do. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, but as I have stated time and time again, it is not in an area of law I practice in. It's like asking a cardiologist to perform a lobotomy. My expertise is family law. While I have a rudimentary knowledge of business law/corporate law, the kind of advice they need is beyond the scope of anything I can help them with. After much thought though, even if I had the ability, I don't know if I would want to. The sense of entitlement they have and the flagrant disrespect they have both shown to me has really upset me. While John has been a monumental douche, what really stings the most is Julie. She was meant to be an old friend, but it just really fucking hurts. I mean, imagine trying over and over again to meet up with a friend, but they continuously bail on you. Then, out of the blue, they meet up with you. But instead of exchanging pleasantries, nope, I didn't even get a token of how are you doing. Nope, I didn't even get a token of how are you doing. A pile of papers get thrust in your hands, dozens of rapid-fire questions about the law, demands to call people for them, requests to write carefully crafted letters in your name on your office stationery, contracts and documents to look over. Yeah, fuck that noise. I don't want to finish work only to be inundated with more work. I know that I have been used, but what's worse is the disrespect. The whole lawyer jokes that were barely disguised attacks on me. The thought process that, oh, she'll do a whole heap of work for us just because. How someone can even get into that mindset astonishes me. Julie hasn't bothered to speak to me, and I have no intention to speak to her. Jane has said that Julie doesn't really show any remorse, and while she understands my reluctance to not get involved, thinks that I should be doing more. Fuck her, and fuck doing more. I've done so much for her and John. I've written statements to help his visa application. I have recommended customers to their store. I have helped them move from home to home. I have given them a list of lawyers to contact in regards to their situation. I've been there when Julie's grandfather passed away. More must mean doing what they want for them. It has been a hard, harsh lesson, but the friend I thought I have never really was a friend. Too Long Didn't Read cut Julie and John out of my life, found out John exploded due to his stupidity, professional reputation remains intact. Final comments. User Married a Brit73 comments, from the distance of the internet, I suggest resending your recommendation letter. Although you did it as part of your personal relationship, it carries more weight than a letter for a non-professional. The ethical and other promise declarations you made upon becoming illegal to practice gives your recommendation more weight, and to maintain those standards, you should also rescind a declaration you can no longer honestly make. Do you really want this guy who's bizarre, stalkerish, and potentially abusive, assuming that's the funny feeling you're getting from their relationship, behavior scares you to become a legal citizen? He knows he has to behave good while on a visa. Can you imagine how he'll behave once he's legal? Actions have consequences. Don't protect him from his due consequences. OP responds, I wish I could, but unfortunately that time has passed. I wrote the letter over a year ago when I was not a practicing solicitor and still a law student. It is not linked to me professionally. It was done, as is stated on the letter, in the context of a friend who has known the couple for an extended period of time. It was essentially a letter that spoke in part about John's character, who at the time I thought was a standout guy, and the legitimacy of John and Julie's relationship, which I still think is legit. No legal jargon. I wouldn't even know how to go about resending the letter because as far as I'm aware, that part of the process that I was involved in has long passed. Half past tuna comments. I think it's hilarious that he thinks he can formally complain about anything. She didn't give us free legal advice. So? OP responds, 90% of the work I do is free, so we attract a lot of crazies, regardless of the screening process that are in place to weed out the crazies and frivolous complaints. As just a general soft reminder, in case I'm the first one to tell you this, just because you know someone within a specific profession doesn't mean you have an all-access pass to their advice for free. It is incredibly insulting and frustrating to have your friends essentially try to use you to get free professional consultation. It's one thing to talk shop with someone, it's another thing entirely to try to use their knowledge and your friendship/relationship with them to get free things. I honestly can't even imagine being in the mindset of asking your friend to do something that they are professionally certified to do, that they got their education for, to do it for you, for free, and when they refuse, you then turn around and talk about to other people about ruining their life because they said no. What a fucking joke. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.